Now that all of our PowerPoint slides are complete and exported as images, we're ready to go into PhotoStory and begin making a movie project. When we bring students into PhotoStory, this is the beginning screen. It doesn't look like much, but this is where we will begin. And everything in PhotoStory is a series of tasks that are managed by these back and next buttons that you will always see down here at the bottom. So the first thing we will need to do is begin a new story, and that will already be selected when you open, and we'll click Next to go to the first screen. This is where we import and arrange the pictures. This will be our timeline here where all the pictures will be lined up in the order that they'll appear in the movie, and this frame right here will be where we will work on the different pictures as we have them selected. So first we will need to go click on Import Pictures, and then we will browse to the folder where we have had them saved. So the same student will log in to PhotoStory as saved the PowerPoint slides, and they will browse to the folder and they should see all the images there. This is a good opportunity to just show them around working in a Windows environment. I like to show the children about the slider here. They might not see all of the pictures, and they can make the pictures bigger or smaller. They'd like to slide them down so that they can see all of the pictures that they have, and we will teach them to click and drag a box around all of the pictures until they're selected. So they have to get way on the outside and bottom. If they start too far in, they may miss some of them. So they'll get that box until all the pictures are selected and have that dark blue border around them, and once they are, they'll click OK, and the pictures will then come in on the timeline. This is where they will be, and if they were saved in the correct order, which means that they were in PowerPoint in the correct order, then they'll appear in PhotoStory in the correct order. The only other thing that they may need to do is slide them around, and you just drag and drop in the timeline, and that will change the orders of the picture if they're not already in order. Now, one other thing we may want to do is if we want to have a title and a credit slide with any kind of music, you're going to need an additional slide that they'll have there. So what I would just have the students do is go back to Import Pictures, and they should be brought back right into the folder, and click on the first and last slide again. So we'll click on the first one and then also the last one. So they can click the first and OK or the second OK, but this is a good opportunity to teach them the control click. So if they press and hold the control button, they can click two different files that are not side by side. This is a neat trick for working in any Windows environment. So when you're managing files, you can always select multiple files this way, and it's nice to introduce the students to that. Then they can click OK. Those additional slides will go right at the end, so we're going to drag one back to the front, and that will be for our title. This way we can put our title on the first slide and then our first narration there as well, so it'll look the same. Once you finish importing and arranging your pictures, you're ready to go on to the next task. We'll click the next button down here at the bottom, and you'll see that this is where we add a title to our pictures. That is the reason why we added the first slide and last slide again, so we could put some text on top without having our voice over top of the words that people are reading. So you would just simply click on the picture in the timeline where you want to add your text, and then in the box here you will just type in what you want it to say. It's a good place to talk about ownership, and then we can talk about the style of font that they may want to use. We always want to make sure that they're using a font that is easy to read and a size that is easy to read. They can change the style of the font and the size of the font, and also the color. This is a good place to talk about choosing an appropriate color. You don't want a dark color on top of a dark color or a bright color on top of a bright color, so they can try out different things to see how they like it. And they're also able to play with the placement of the letters on the page by using these buttons here. So that there's 9 different combinations of where they can put the text. And on the back you may want to just have some credit slide there, so they may want to say thank you to a teacher that helped them. If they did any research on the internet or using any books, then this could be a good place for them to actually put in the names of the places where they got any of the information as well. So they could be a sort of a works cited and a thank you there on the same place. And one of the nice things that PhotoStory does when you're using it, it really is a really easy tool to use, and you can make some pretty good looking videos out of basically photos, is that it does a zoom and pan. It will zoom in on different parts of the picture, and it will do it automatically in a way that looks kind of nice. The problem for us is that we don't want that to happen. We want all of the parts of our pictures to stay in the same place, so that when we move the sun or move the shadow, it looks as if it's an animation. So we actually have to go to the next screen to be able to turn that off. So we're going to have to do that on each picture that we have. So first we'll go next here at the bottom, and you'll see this is where we're going to narrate our pictures and customize motion. Below each picture that we have, there is a button that says Customize Motion. I'm going to come back to my first picture here and click on it. And we'll see that here our start position is we are seeing the whole screen, and in our end position we are seeing the whole screen. So there will be no motion here on this picture, and that is good. So we'll close that and go to the next one and click on Customize Motion. Here you'll see in this first picture that we'll start zoomed in, and then over the course of the slide, during the course of our narration, it's going to zoom out to take up the whole screen, and we don't want that to happen. We want to be able to control this ourselves. So there's a couple of simple steps that they need to do. They first need to click this box where it says Specify Start and End Position of Motion. I teach the kids, I say, when you click that box, you're just telling PhotoStory, hey, I want to do it myself. So we say the words do it myself when we click the box. So we click the box here, and now you'll notice these rectangles have the handles on them that you're used to seeing when you're working with images. So in both boxes you want to make sure that they're dragged all the way out to the same size, and you'll be able to see that the pixel sizes will match. So once you've got that, you can click Save, and then you're on to the next picture. So you could close and go back to the timeline, or you'd be able to click this button right here to go to the next picture. We're going to do it ourselves, and then we're going to drag that box big, save, onto the next picture. Do it myself, drag those boxes to the same size, and save. And you would do this all the way through to the end of the slideshow, through all of the different slides. So I've gone ahead and finished that out throughout the timeline here, and one of the things that you'll be able to do is preview and see what the animation looks like, and so you can see if you get rid of all of that motion, extra motion that you don't want. So there is a preview button in different places that you'll see. So you can click on it here, or we could go all the way back to the beginning. So if we clicked Close and clicked on that first slide again, we'll be able to preview from the beginning what it looks like. And as it goes through, you'll be able to see that we have taken out all that extra motion that we really don't want to have in there. And as it moves from slide to slide, the building and the ground and the sky will all stay in the same place, and only the parts that we want to move will move. And as the narration goes through, they'll be describing and explaining what is happening in all of the different pictures. So we're ready now to do the main part, and that's the narration, and this is the part that will take the students the longest because they are going to listen to it, they want to hear it over and over again, so it's going to be something that will take them a little while to get through after everything is set up. So we'll close our preview window here. We stay in the same task because there's Customize Motion and Narrate Your Pictures. So what you'll do is you'll first click on the slide where you want to have the narration, and the students will have their storyboards, so the picture should already be matched up with the words that they want to go with the picture. They'll have a microphone, and they will plug it into the microphone jack on the computer, and then when they are ready, they will simply click on this record button here, and they will read the narration. So they'll click on it and they'll say something like this. This picture shows what it looks like before sunrise. You don't see the sun in the picture because the sun is below the horizon, and so there is no shadow. Shadows are caused when light from the sun strikes an object and is blocked by the object, and so on the other side of the object from the sun we will see a shadow. And you saw when I was finished, I clicked that stop button right there to be able to see. In the timeline, you'll see a couple of things happen. First is a speech bubble appears, and that's how you know there's narration that goes with that picture. And then you'll see some dashes here. This will end up being the time that the slide stays there for the narration. So the nice thing about PhotoStory is the picture will be on the screen for as long as the narration lasts. So if our narration lasts for 19 seconds, then our picture will be on the screen for 19 seconds. If they want to hear what it sounds like, they'll be able to click the preview right after they click stop, and that box will pop up, and they'll be able to hear what they said. You don't see the sun in the picture because the sun is below the horizon, and so there is no shadow. Shadows are caused when light from the sun. And if they like it, they'll keep it and go on to the next picture. If they don't like it, they will click delete narration here, and this is a little confusing because we've trained them to know that that button means undo, that little icon there, but it really is delete narration. So they will click it and it will ask if they want to delete, and we'll say yes, and then the time and the speech bubble will go away, so they will redo the narration for that, and they will travel that all the way through their timeline as they go through their storyboard recording on each one. The last thing that they will want to do is put some music, and Photo Story has the ability to create some music to put on there at the end. It's simplest if they put it only on the credits slide after their last narration. It can be done at the beginning, but then it has to be muted for the duration of the talking and then turn back on again at the end. So it's just simpler to have them put it on the last slide. So we'll go to our last slide here, which will have our credits, and then we'll go next, and you will see that it says add background music. So there's background, if they have pre-selected music, it can go in, but then you get into issues of giving credit and how much music can you use. So Photo Story has some built-in music that they can choose and that they'll be able to see. So they can create music, and they have all of these drop-down boxes they can play with, so that has different styles of music and then different instruments and then different moods that they can play. You can speed it up and all sorts of things, and they can hear what it sounds like. And when they find something they like, they can just click OK, and you'll see that in the timeline right above, you'll have some music right there. Once that is finished, we need to save our project, and at any point during this, when they stop working, we'll save your project, and this always is here. So they click Save Project, and it's going into My Videos. I always find that the kids have a hard time finding it when it goes into My Videos, so we really like for them to come back out here to their lunch number, to their home directory, and just save it at that top level. It gives the file name Photo Story 1 automatically every time, but I like for them to change that to what it is called and then add movie or movie project at the end, so when they're looking at their home directory trying to launch it back open, they'll know what it is. So if they can call it Shadows Movie Project, that really makes it easier to get back in when they're coming in that second time to find it again. So we'll save that project there. And saving the project does not create an actual movie. So this is at any time when they're working, they can save that project. When the class period ends and they need to leave, then they will save that project and they'll be able to start next time. Once the project is complete and they've previewed and they've listened all the way through and they're happy with how everything sounds and looks and they're ready to make that a finalized movie, they'll save the project, but then they have to do what we call finalize the movie, and that is the last screen here in Photo Story. So if we go next one more time, it says save your story, and that's not save the project, that's save the whole story as a movie. And you'll see here that it's giving us what's called a WMV, and if you know anything about file types and extensions, when you see that, that means that's a movie type that can play in Windows Movie Player, that can be uploaded to YouTube and embedded in a blog page or a wiki or something like that. So we want to browse, make sure it's going to the correct place. Mine's going to the desktop, so they may want to make sure that it goes into their home directory. And this is a good place to take the word project out. Again, I know these are third graders, but being able to talk about meaningful file names and how to manage your files in Windows, these are good skills for them to be able to do, and as we go through, it'll help them later on. So we'll click Save, and then I never change any of these settings here. We want to save your story for playback on your computer, and then once that's all set, then we will go next, and it will go through this process of building and playing the video. And it doesn't take terribly long because it's not particularly graphics intense, and the music isn't that intense also. If they have a lot of narration, it could take a little while to do that. Once it's finished, then they go right in and they can view their story. It'll launch Movie Maker, a Windows Media Player, and they'll be able to watch their story happen. And the only thing you'll need to do is go back into those student home directories and fish them back out and to compile them in one place, and then you can have them for posting or for sharing. These are graded authors' teas at the end of the year for parent presentations there as well. So it's a really easy way to get them to do a project.